just discontinued. I got dropped. All those people that were in my chat. That sucks. I hadn't even started talking about quantum of conscience yet. It wouldn't let me restart the live stream. Can you please tell everybody to come over here? I don't know what happened. It wouldn't let me go back into the live. It just cut out. Is the other live stream still live? Can you guys please tell me? Tell the people in the chat and the other one to come over here, because I can't get back into the old one. It literally just zonked me out. It booted me out. I got booted, and then it made me start another one. So I apologize. 6 people, yay! I know, I have to talk about quantum of conscience, quantum of conscience. That's such a weird name, quantum of conscience. Do you feel like you're... Excuse me. Do you feel like your conscience, your Jiminy Cricket conscience is quantum? Like a quantum computer has... It's not binary code. It's it has the yes, no, and then yes, no. It has a yes, no, and then a yes, no at the same time. A third option, a maybe. So that you're able to do predictive, if this happens, this is what's going to happen. And if you have these choices and this is what's going to happen. So, whoa. So having a quantum of conscience, that means having a wide spectrum of your Jiminy Cricket. I feel like your Jiminy Cricket conscience is pretty set. There's, you know what's good and you know what's bad. It's not a quantum maybe. You know if you have a baby, you're probably going to murder somebody to save that baby's life if that baby needs to be to be saved. If the baby needs to be saved and somebody has to die in the process, you're going to save your baby. It's not a quantum, well, it depends on who the person is. I'll let my baby go. Maybe if the person is really important, I'll let my baby die to save this other person. I guess there's people like that, but I'm not like that. I don't have I feel like my conscience is pretty standard, and there's not really a wavering on it, a quantum. I think it's consistent between the quantum parallel universes is my conscience. I don't have a quantum spectrum of my Jiminy Cricket. Hi Daniel the Lion. Hi Adrian. What's up guys? Yeah, so Matt's latest video, Quantum of Conscience, he was talking about the AI and The Sims, and how right now there's these new, they're coming out with these new types of AI chat GPT programs. There's like the ones that are for art, where you type in, you know, D cup, blonde, 25-year-old woman in the style of Japanese anime wearing a French maid's outfit, cleaning a bathroom, you know, and then it comes up with some picture, you know, that like makes you go, ooh, 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 ooh. Ooh, sun's coming out. And then there's like the Chat GPT one that's more like word focused and will write an essay in the version of Hemingway about an alien invasion in 1920. You know, you add the details and then the AI program will spit out something for you. I don't use these AI programs. This is just what I've heard and other people reviewing them. And then there's these other AI programs that people are getting all flustered about that mimic your voice and I guess can mimic video, but more specifically the audio. And I know Pink Elephant, that YouTube channel, was using some type of program that he said wasn't free, that this is a program that he paid for, but he made videos in the voice of Archaics, Jason Breshears, and in the voice, it was some other YouTuber. He made a couple videos, I think, and then he ended up taking them down. But yeah, there's these AI audio bots that will mimic whatever voice, and so like the latest fear porn right now is people saying that they're gonna, you know, even my parents brought this up to me. They're like, oh, now that they can call, like they'll call my parents and have the audio of me, pretend that they're me with my voice saying I'm in trouble, send money this way, blah, blah, blah. And, you know, the parents won't question the voice because it sounds like their child or whatever. And they'll send the money and it's like a scam. So I don't know, the Pink Elephant version of the Archaics, like some of the words it did sound like Archaics, but in other parts it was not him. So it's definitely not. And Pink Elephant on his channel, he was kind of going on about, he's like this is the stuff that, like, the stuff you pay for is so much more high quality than this stuff they have access for free, that, you know, they're basically just using humans to teach the program to the AI, because more, you know, more cooks in the kitchen, you know, he's giving the AI more ingredients and more references and more inspiration, more things to, because the AI doesn't really know what to look for yet. So people coming in telling them what to look for, now it's learning new things. But so the Pink Elephant channel was, you know, saying, you know, I pay for this, and so, you know, this is even higher quality, and the stuff that, you know, is even more advanced than this, you guys don't even know, and like what they're doing already, la la la. But I have to say that his version of Jason Breshears, it wasn't like, I feel like a person could mimic. I probably can mimic Jason Breshears better, just naturally, like, you know, improv than the AI. I think like a person rehearsing the voice can still do a much better job impersonating Archaics than this, at least this AI chatbot that Pink Elephant was using. Maybe it has to do with the amount of audio files that you give it to sample, because I think it uses words. It's also interesting too, because I feel like I've been instrumental in like advancing AI, like me personally. And one thing when I was practicing medicine, like right when I got out of medical school, they really were, so I was an Epic super user, and I helped transition the hospital I was in from paper charts. They were still using like paper writing charts to all computer. And the system they use is Epic, and that's what most hospital system uses is this Epic system. And I already knew the system from working at other hospitals. So they made me an Epic super user. So it was my job to like train the old 40 doctors that didn't know how to use computers. Like they didn't even know how to cut and paste. Like these were like old doctors that had avoided using computers up until this point, and now they were like forced to use computers. They didn't even know how to use a computer, let alone a medical record system like connected to the internet, you know, with hyperlinks and buttons, and they didn't know how to do jack shit. Like they didn't know how to like highlight and left click. So I was like teaching these old doctors how to do this crap. And so it was like that. And then part of that, my practice is that they wanted me to use, I know he's walking. They wanted me to use this Dragon software. And the Dragon software was, it was before Siri. It was before Siri existed. But it was this, I guess Siri did exist. But the thing about the medical language, you know, I say a laparoscopic appendectomy, you know, we resected the diaphragm peripheral to the aortic bifurcation, you know, like the vocabulary for a general iPhone Siri doesn't have the medical lingo to pick that up and to translate it correctly. So there was this program called Dragon that was medically specific, and it was this headset software program. I had to like call in to these people that were in corporate, and they like, it's like the software learned your language and your voice, and then it learned how to translate you. So you had to teach the software first how you talk. So this was a way to dictate notes. So the way I was doing it is that you have a medical transcriptionist that your doctor's office pays for, and I would call a number, and it would go to a recording, and I'd say, you know, this is, you know, Kimberly Kurtz, PAC, dictating a surgical progress note for patient last name Garcia, first name Denise, date of birth 9/11, 1972. The patient, a 47-year-old Latina woman, presented to the hospital 2 days ago with complaints of left lower quadrant pain times 3 days with 3 episodes of vomiting and 1 episode of watery diarrhea, period. The patient, upon presentation to the emergency room, CT scans were ordered as well as a complete blood workup, period. CT scan showed a ischemic left bowel with possible interoception, you know, like that. And the next day you'd get a printout in your fax machine of everything that you said, because there was a skilled lady who was used to hearing your voice, or used to hearing your doctor's voice, and they typed it all out from listening to your recording. And they were like, you know, they were like super transcriptionists. They like can type super fast. They know the medical lingo. They know what you're saying. And that's how it worked. But when they switched from from paper to computers, they don't want to pay a person to do the billing. They want the doctors to figure out the code directly and enter it into the computer. They don't want to pay for a medical transcriptionist to listen to an audio recording, type it out, and then fax it. They want you to directly dictate into the computer and cut out the middle person. They want to cut out the people along the way. And that actually ends up making so much more work for the the doctor or the physician assistant or the nurse practitioner, whoever's actually seeing the patient, because we didn't go to school to be like a biller. We didn't go to school to like type, like, you know, so it was always faster just to hand write your own note. You could write it while you're there with the patient. And it's so different. Like most of the time now they'll type while you're in with the patient. They'll be typing, and that's like so impersonal. Because all you're doing is really caring about how the information is getting entered. You're not really caring about the interaction so much between the patient and the provider. But anyways, there was this software called Dragon, and it was on the newer side, and they wanted me to spend time training the software. So it's AI basically. It was like this headset, and I would dictate and be like, you know, Denise Garcia presents to the hospital with complaints of 3 days abdominal pain. And you would look at the screen and it would misspell Garcia. It would like put words together. So it took so you'd have to go back and edit it. And so it took a really long time for it to learn how you speak. And it's like, I'm not gonna spend time like freaking training this freaking AI dragon. Like, I can do it faster using my person, or I could do it faster just typing it myself. Like, I'm not gonna like talk and then go back and edit and then talk and then go back and edit. It was just a big pain in the ass. The doctor I was working with, he ended up really sticking with it, and then ended up learning his language, and it ended up being where he would talk and it would type exactly what he said. But it was a huge learning curve for this AI. And I feel like I've been like at this like front edge of training the AI every level, including my brain being mapped at UC San Diego, which was all like this pre-programmed thing. Because I was thinking about like what was driving, like what drove me to like take the little slip and have my brain mapped. Because it was like advertised on a pole, like in, you know, on campus with the little like phone numbers that you pull. And I was going back, and I used to watch these documentaries on the brain and human behavior on like TLC and the Discovery Channel back when I was a kid, like adolescent. I usually watch it with my mom. We'd watch like surgery documentaries. We'd watch like surgical stuff, like emergency room stuff, and like, you know, stuff about consciousness and the brain and sexual behavior and all kinds of stuff. And there was this the leader in the brain consciousness and like learning about the frontal lobe was this guy at UC San Diego. And I remember he was this Indian man. He kind of had gray hair. I think he kind of looked like I'm thinking he looks like that really like Christian pastor that was like Indian with like this silver hair. But anyways, he was at UC San Diego at the neurological department, the neuroscience department, which is like world renowned. And that like stuck with me. And then I ended up going to UC San Diego, and it's like I wanted to be part of that brain thing. I think it's like probably part of the loop that we're in, is that like this construct is linked to my brain. But that also has to do with Lawrence Livermore Labs. I've been watching a lot of, you know, like the Anonymous Official channel. And I think it's also connected to like the DNA Awakening channel. But they usually pump out videos every day, sometimes twice a day. But a lot of the videos are repetitive. But recently they talk, like their videos talk about Lawrence Livermore Labs and the brain mapping having to do with the duplicate copy that they're trying to create of this world. And this ties into what Matt of Quantum of Conscience was talking about, is like this this overlay virtual world where there's actually a person, a digital person that represents every person in the world. And then you can see, now that I'm like getting onto it, it's like escaping my thought process, because I'm talking about Matt, and then I was also talking about the brain overlays and the loop. So if they have a virtual copy of this world, and they do something to your avatar, if the computer world is super close to the real world, they can almost predict what you're going to do next, and or actually make you do something next, like a voodoo, like having a voodoo doll and sticking a pin in its shoulder, and then you in the real world actually get a pain in your shoulder. So Matt of Quantum of Conscience was talking about how there's these AI bots that are like a simulation world, kind of like SimCity or The Sims, where it's all AI little, it looks kind of like Zelda, where you're kind of like a third perspective person looking down into like the little box of the scene, and there's little people moving around, and the people all are characters. They're all AI, but each character has like a backstory and a role, and they're all interacting with each other, and they're like learning from interacting with each other and like creating little new experiences and stuff based on a little kind of script that they're given. So it's like a world that's kind of just like letting itself, grow on its own. And he was like comparing that to, I think, saying, basically that this already exists, and it's kind of like the soldiers who I mean, this is my own thoughts. It's kind of like the soldiers that man the drones. Like how do we know all these video games like that you're playing aren't actually connected to reality? Like they're not actually, like people are actually dying because you're shooting a fake virtual gun, so like there's people that like in the military that fly drones, and they're like dropping bombs and stuff, but the guy sitting in like a game console, like in Nevada, like in Reno somewhere, like a few blocks from where he lives, and he's just has a joystick, and it's like a video game screen, and he's playing a video game, but it's actually controlling a drone flying over Saudi Arabia or flying over wherever, dropping shit and killing actual people. But it's like the more you make it like a video game to the person operating, the less connected you are emotionally and as a human to what you're actually doing, because it's just a game. I'm not really killing people. It's a block. Like it's like the dumbing down of the graphics makes it an objectification, so that it's not real. You're not really killing people. So it was like these little like it looked like Zelda, like old Zelda, and it's like you're watching these AI little bots, but maybe they're really people. Maybe these are people in some box underground somewhere, and you're watching their interactions, but you just think they're little AI bots, but in reality they could like enhance the video, and the pixelation goes away, and they're actually humans. But you're not really connected to them that way, because they look like little Lego people. And so it's like you're watching this little like sim, it's like a sim city, it's like The Sims. And it's not real, but what if it is real? Like, and what if that's the nature of this reality? Like, there are beings outside of here controlling you, controlling your character. And it's like in the Hunger Games where you can pay to be a patron and give your favorite player like a balloon, a little gift, you know, like balloon some medicine down or like help them in some situation. Well, maybe like outside of here, there's people operating like they think they're playing a video game or they're watching some interactive reality TV show, and they're like, I really love that Aphrodite Rose Starfire. I just love her, and I'm gonna give her a little help. I'm gonna you know, send her some a new sweatshirt, and then there's like another person like, I fucking hate that Aphrodite Rose Starfire. She's so annoying. She's like, she won't shut up. Like, let's put her in her place, you know, because I like this other person over here, you know, and this Aphrodite Rose Starfire is like kind of like stealing this show. So we're gonna put a ticket, like we're gonna put a couple tickets on her windshield today, and you know, put her in her place. Like, so there's like beings outside of here, like giving little help or like hurting you or changing your script in a way. And like, if you think about it, if you are a player, if you're playing a video game in The Sims, or maybe you're watching a show like American Idol, or you like know somebody on like Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, and they call you for the help, or you're the one that sends in the money or calls in 50 votes for the person in American Idol, you feel like you made like such a difference in that person's life, or you feel like you're part of something really cool, like the person who just won American Idol. I was the one that called in 50 times a night and voted for them. That was me. I put that person there. Or like, you know, it's like, or the person in the Hunger Games who helps Katniss win. Like, they feel like they are part of something really important, that they are part of that journey. And it's like, I always go back to the movie, Being John Malkovich. So if you haven't seen the movie Being John Malkovich, you have to see that movie. There's some that has to do with the script and the loop as well. It's like the actors, they play a consistent role. Like, you'll notice that like an actor is like typecast, but it's because they represent an archetype. Like John Cusack, who I think looks like James Munder. But John Cusack, you know, he was in The Cell. He's in the 2012 Apocalypse movie. He was like Edgar Allan Poe. He was Lane, the boombox Lane. What is the movie I was going to talk? Oh, Being John Malkovich. He's in the movie Being John Malkovich, and so is Cameron Diaz, but you wouldn't even recognize Cameron Diaz in that movie. But they find this secret doorway where they're able to enter into they're able to look behind the eyes, like they're sitting behind the eyes of John Malkovich, the actor. The actor John Malkovich, who's in a bunch of movies. These characters, John Cusack and Cameron Diaz, they find a door where they're able to go behind the eyes of John Malkovich. So they get to be a movie star, basically, John Malkovich. But they get obsessed. They get obsessed of being in somebody else's body, of like wearing somebody else's skin. And when they're inside John Malkovich's head, John Malkovich takes a back seat and the people inside of his head are able to move his body and do things. So they go crazy. They have wild sex, like. And John Malkovich will wake up in the bed of somebody and he'll be like, "Who are you? I don't even know you." He kind of like, it's like he's driven, like he has demons in him, but it's actually these people that are able to go inside of his brain and manipulate his body like a puppet, like a voodoo doll. And it's like these Sims, like these Sim video games. And it's weird, like, I think the video, it's like the tech is dumbed down to make it more objectified, like it's like to make it look less real so that you're less connected. Because I think if the visuals are if it was actual video, you'd be so traumatized you wouldn't want to play the game. So it has to do also with the 2D, the 3D, the 2D, and the transmission between 3D and 2D. But it's weird because it's like these connections and of Matt, and like I feel like my story is like of utmost importance to what's happening. Like I'm like a central character, and my brother Matt, who died. Usually people with the name Matt who pop up in my life have to do with death. They've died, or they have like significant things to say, but it's usually in a very kind of soft-spoken way. So Matt, Quantum of Conscious, kind of fills this role. You know, Suvi Bird, who I was friends with for a while, her brother who committed suicide, his name was Matt. And Matt, my brother Matt, died at the last moment of 2012. He died New Year's Eve, like 11:59, as the ball was dropping. The last seconds of 2012 is when he died. And I feel like that was when we were uploaded. I feel like the end of 2012 was a significant date, and my brother's death marked it. I feel there was also a marking at Y2K at 2000. But the end of 2012 was when I think we switched over to the simulation copy. And the thing was is that my brother, while he was alive in his last 5-10 years, he was intricately involved into the video game The Sims. Is that my brother Matt is where he lived his life was The Sims. Like, he had grown up with all the versions, and my brother was basically like a quadriplegic. He was in a wheelchair. He had to have like a strap. He couldn't hold his head up anymore. Like, he had to have a CPAP to help him breathe. But my parents had like maneuvered like a whole pulley system so where he was still able to, like, they had like a whole thing to hold his arm and everything, but he was able to hold his hand over the mouse with the ball, you know, the kind of mouse that has the ball. And so he was still able to, you know, with a bunch of slings holding his arm in position, he was still able to manipulate his fingers to use the mouse to live a life inside the computer. So he was World of Warcraft, where he was an orc, and he went on raids and stuff, and he was in The Sims. Those were his games, World of Warcraft and The Sims. And he was like a pimp in The Sims. Like, I think he was a pimp. He had like a casino, and he had like a bunch of like hoes. But it's weird that like Matt, Quantum of Conscience, is bringing up The Sims as like this integral part of probably the carbon copy of this world, and also probably how we are manipulated in the 2D, and that puppets us in the 3D by first predictive programming of what we're going to do. And then somehow maybe it's through the diet and actually us like ingesting and maybe being showered with like programmable graphene or something, that we are able to actually be puppeted by the 2D program. And then, yeah, me like seeking out having my brain being mapped. But yeah, so it's like, but these programs, while you're playing it, like I suggest you don't investigate any of the AI programs. But like The Sims, when my brother was playing it, you're programming it, you're teaching it. So he was like teaching it and telling it like how to be human, what humans want, what a boy in a wheelchair would do with his life if he had no constraints. I mean, think about like what valuable information that is. Like, you know, a boy, like a man with no mental constraints, but complete physical constraint, like so constrained that you can't even breathe on your own at the end. And it was slowly taken away. Like he was able to walk, and then it was slowly taken away, the abilities. Well, what that man would do with the access of a world, a virtual world. And you know, they're like getting all that information, and here I am getting my brain scan, like dragon voice, you know, learning how I speak and trying to map my next thought, because that's what it's trying to predict, what you're going to say next with the pattern of how you've said things in the past. So yeah. Oh, I have to go back. I was talking a while, guys. Quantum, Daniel Lyons says quantum is multiple, like quantity, multiple personalities. Yeah. Techno hippie, I'm going to be 47 this year and would never want to go back because I won't make it again. This is Mary Jane's last dance. We will get it right this time, no doubt. Love you guys. Joseph Newhouse says there are fun AI voice videos with Trump and Biden playing Pokemon. Adrian says I wouldn't want to do it again. Techno hippie, I'm amazed I made it this far. Techno hippie says I like Super Mario. Virginia Dare, what's up? Amen Techno, I hope I get it right after getting it wrong even this time around. Daniel Lyons says soon the internet will be completely deep fake. Yeah. Do you guys think the internet really is ever going to get wiped out? I'm starting to think like nothing is ever really going to happen. Like you just got to like go out and like the government's never going to go away. It's just, you just got to like do you. I still think you got to get a sailboat maybe out of Hawaii. And then like if you go out there from Hawaii, there's like no stopping. You just go west. Oh, that's what I was thinking about too, about that whole Pearl Harbor thing in World War II. It was like, the point of it was to set up this mental border of, oh, what's past Hawaii? Oh, it's Japan. Because the Japanese flew over and bombed us, the closest U.S. ever to be bombed. Like, the only time U.S. to ever be bombed on its soil was Pearl Harbor by the Japanese, because they flew over, because what's west of Hawaii? It's Japan. But that whole thing was just to set up the map in people's heads of what's past Hawaii, it's Japan, because they flew over and, you know, but it's not. Like, if you go past Hawaii, it's not Japan. Like, that's like the mental fence that the Pearl Harbor, it's like, that's our clamshell right there, is the border past Hawaii. It's not Japan. It's not Pearl Harbor. That's like to keep us in the closed petri dish. Low battery. Oh. Daniel Line says, it will turn everyone against each other. It has to come down. Yeah, it definitely can turn people against each other if they're lazy. Like if you just rely on text messages to like relay emotional things, or if you don't like follow up with misunderstandings, like with actual like, hey, what's going on here? Because I don't understand. Like, if you don't have the bravery to like say things like that, then yeah, people go really against each other because they don't like, people avoid conflict. Like they don't want to address like, hey, what's going on here? Like, I thought we were cool, but now we're not cool, or what? Like, I was like, are you saying this? Because I'm hearing this. Adrian says, these programs can't understand my accent. Dandelion, there are 2 copies of the internet. Hi, Jessica Jane. Techno Hippie, I do it wrong all the time, adjusting my attitude and attention to what matters most. I get sidetracked, but always figure it out. You guys help me all the time through good, bad, and ugly. Dandelion, the other one is being set up after financial collapse around the beginning of summer. You think so? I don't know. This financial collapse has been supposed to happen for a while now. Thank you. Adrian says, we used to have human transcriptions after surgery and whatnot. Yeah. Virginia Dare, we still have court reporters. They must have a union. Oh, that's interesting. There must be legal stuff. They must have legal AI transcriptionists. Techno Hippie says, the world is becoming impersonal in a whole bunch of areas. Virginia says, Dragon Girl, you trained a dragon. Yes. Daniel Line says, AI can only mimic from a database. Its only advantage is speed. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, all they have is what they have access to. So the more people that use it, the more bits of information they have to work with. Yeah, so like the people that are putting their photos to make thumbnails for their YouTube videos, I'm like, don't do that. Like, you're feeding the AI your image. Like, Adrian, I don't want any AI knowing my voice and accent. Quantum Eva says, dang, that's crazy. Adrian says, I got it down to a science. Quantum Epic says, brain stuff is super fascinating. Techno Hippie says, they still don't understand the brain and it's all of its abilities, which is actually a good thing now. It used to make me mad, very angry. Now I understand much more, so not so angry. Yeah. Techno Hippie says, they are way more into things that they can control. Haha. The restaurant I worked at, it called The Sims. LOL. Techno Hippie worked at The Sims restaurant? Daniel Line, if we don't fix it, flood will have to do the trick again. Or fire, right? Isn't it the next supposed to be fire? Adrian, wouldn't that be crazy, us controlling animated characters while others are controlling our animations? Yeah. And I've said this before, and I told Karen about it recently, but I'll say it again, that like a lot of the video games that have monsters and stuff, when you're fighting the monster, or like in movies where it's like the monster comes out of the ocean and whatever, and they're fighting the monster, and like the guy wounds the monster, like sticks it in the like underbelly, and the monster goes, you know, like it's like this horrible like cry, and you can hear the pain in it. And it like the cry almost makes you feel sorry for the monster. Like you get empathy and sympathy, and The reason why is because they get those sounds of the monster crying by actually audio recording animals like lions and bears and tigers in pens, and they poke the lions and the bears with sticks and do things to the animal and have like a microphone to get the audio of a bear going or like getting pain. And then they, in the studio, they put a little like bear with a stick getting poked mixed with lion, you know, getting whipped or whatever, you know, and then they make a monster sound of a, you know, and then that's why you feel like this, like, ooh, like this heart, like that's like, you feel bad for the monsters because you're actually hearing animals being hurt in your ears. You're actually hearing that, and so you know, subconsciously, unconsciously react emotionally to it because humans don't like animals being hurt. So it's like these guys, these young guys playing video games all the time, playing with the monsters, and they're hearing these cries. It's like really traumatic to your psyche, your subconscious. Jump in the flower. The firmament is recording everything. Interesting. Daniel the Lion says, we're already doing it. The code is nature, and they want us in the computer. Joseph Newhouse says, jump in the flowers, LOL. There'd be bugs in there. We are the beginnings, Daniel Lion says. Techno Hippie says, it hurts disengaging from this AI octopus and takes a lot of healing and strength to fight against it. Adrian says, that was a good movie. Techno Hippie says, I can feel it when I get the suckers off me. Ugh, exhausting, but we're made for this. Hi, JM. Hi, Enslaved by Truth. Techno Hippie says, I won't ever stop. I don't need batteries. Techno Hippie says, I see AI as a tool, not a way of life. Techno Hippie, work in progress. Stay beautiful and authentic. Y'all much from South Florida. Cool. Adrian, goodness, I have to go to work outside. Okay. Have a nice weekend. Zeus Scott, I am Max Headroom. Love, learn, and grow. What's up? Love The Sims. Virginia, my brother Kenny died. Oh, I'm sorry. Love, we are our spirit and mind. Love, learn, and grow. So cool. Virginia Dare, if someone's operating me, I want to kick the ass. I definitely have felt operated, especially back when, like, I was drinking. When you feel that like FOMO is definitely being operated on. When you feel like that, like your fear of missing out and you have to like go party and stuff. Love, learn, and grow. Even with traffic patterns, how to control emotions. Joseph Newhouse says, there is supposedly an upgrade from Web 2 to Web 3. Like an upgrade for everybody? Or do they only upgrade certain people? And I was also thinking about, are there like what if the flat plane, like topographically had a spiral staircase just based on, I know some people say the North Pole is all downhill. So that would be the pit, right? But then there's supposed to be a staircase to heaven. Daniel Lyons says, they are never going to leave us alone. It's them or us. Hi, Brian Leo Star 88. Have you ever had YouTube show you videos based on your private thoughts and nothing you said out loud or typed? Yes, I have. I suggest you definitely always cover up your camera with a piece of tape or a sticker or something. And then there's that other dot that I don't know what it is, but it's above my little speaker, which is a line. And then there's like another dot that I think it's like infrared or something, but I've tried covering that up before. I don't think it's a camera, but my phone doesn't work as well when I cover that up. Like it starts to glitch. I'm going to run out of batteries. So, you worked at Universal, Daniel the Line? Have you been to the grocery store? Yes. Tight Teddy Spaghetti. Joseph Newhouse says, you just used a photo for your video thumbnail. You want it? You cleaning? Not yet. I will take a jaunt at the flowers and then we will be complete. Sounds kind of like BS, but TikTokers going on about the new internet. Tell me about this new internet. Just I don't have TikTok. What is this new internet? Is it like the deep dark web? The deep dark web. Looks like this might be somebody's pee spot. Hope there's no bugs in my coffee. Whee. Whee. Look at there. Ahoy. Oh. Thanks. I got some new clothes yesterday. I woke up like this. They actually do have a nice smell. Alright guys. Hola from San Diego. Bien, vieros. ¿Cómo está? Muy bien. Biciclitos, por favor. Mi amo. Te amo. See ya.